So ink is really versatile and comes in a lot of different forms, but one ink-based product that is quite popular and that I have been using quite a lot recently and I found quite useful is the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. So it's got this hard plastic outer case and these little ink cartridges that you just pop in, and then the end is a little brush made of these kind of plasticky fibres. And it's really easy to set up. You just get the little cartridge, pop it in and screw it until it clicks, and then it's basically ready to go. The ink flows down into the little brush end and boom, you're done. I actually got this one ages ago and I started using it a lot more recently, but it still lasted a really long time. When you look at those little ink cartridges, you think it like that's not that much ink at all, but it's actually lasted me a really long time. And I've really started to kind of get into it and think like it's so useful for taking out and traveling and stuff. So here I'm just demonstrating kind of the different brush strokes you can use with it. It's quite versatile. You can get quite thin lines, you can get these fat, juicy lines, and you can also, if you press hard and like go quite quick, you can get this like dry brush effect, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, it's a little bit annoying if you want to cover large areas quickly. The ink doesn't flow down into the bristles fast enough, so you kind of need to really take your time if you want to cover a larger area and have it like be very rich, thick black ink. So what I mainly use it for is very simple line sketches. I don't fill in a lot of black areas with this pen. Here are a couple more examples, and you can also see me adding a little bit of kind of hatching shading to something I did earlier, so you can see how I would usually use it. And right about here you're going to see me attempt a little bit of calligraphy with this pen, which is something that I think probably a more skilled person could do really well, because all you have to do is do light pressure on the upstrokes and heavier pressure on the downstrokes, and then you kind of create this like cute little calligraphy style pen work. But I never do calligraphy, so excuse me, it's not that great. Maybe I should practice more, but blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to be moving on to a couple different Inktober's where the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen kind of took main stage and I mainly used it. In this first one is where you can kind of see me struggling to put larger areas in black, because it's just a bit frustrating to do it a tiny bit at a time with the brush pen. Because the ink doesn't flow that fast, you just can't fill in larger areas that quickly if you want a really solid black layer. There are different types of Pentel brush pens where it's refillable, so you put your own ink in there instead of the little cartridge things, and then you can kind of squeeze the barrel because it's more flexible plastic, and you can squeeze more ink down into the brush, and then that way you can create like juicier, more ink filled stuff quicker. So that pen will probably be useful for a lot of other things, but I do find this one quite useful, and I would probably stick to this one even with that limitation, just because it feels like it's just a bit less faff, you know, like you just put the cartridge in, you're good, you're done until the cartridge is empty, instead of like filling it in yourself and having to find the right ink. I know I like this black ink. It's really like rich, dark, proper black ink that I don't have to worry about getting the right ink for it. I like just having one thing just for black ink and line work, and I've got refillable water brushes that I could put ink in if I wanted to. It took a tiny bit of time to get used to the brush pen, like just with the pressure, because it's such a soft nib that if a tiny bit too much pressure and you can just make it a lot more fatter than you intended. And I tend to be a little bit heavy-handed, so occasionally I have like really messed something up because I tried to get a really fine line and I put too much pressure and it like turned into a blobby mess. But if you're light-handed and you can control your hands, and you know you're an actual proper smart human that can control their limbs, then this shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, overall I really appreciate the variation in line width that you can get with this pen. And I really appreciate how easy it is to use, how simple it is. You just get it out, you take the cap off and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about like dipping it in, having other things. Like you can just get a piece of paper, get this brush pen, and then you can create some pretty decent pieces of art and sketches. I've mainly used it for sketching and some outline with other stuff, but Inktober's like, this Inktober's the first time I've used it to pretty much create the entire piece. And this is the second Inktober piece. I think this was day 22 or 23. I think 23. I'm quite pleased with how this piece turned out, considering how much time I spent on it. I did not spend very much time at all, so I'm quite pleased. And this is the kind of thing that I mainly use it for. If I'm doing portraits, I'll just do the outline and then a little bit of cross hatching and stuff, and I'm quite getting into that sort of simple look and realizing that I don't have to put layers of paint down and make something really complicated for it to look nice. Like, it can just look like simple black and white ink illustration, and that's fine. I haven't posted a video in a while. I suppose that's not really a big deal, because I'm pretty sure my granddad is the only people that watches my videos. I found out recently that he watches a lot of them. So hi granddad, how are you? Sorry I haven't seen you recently. Basically every time mum's gone to see you, I've either been ill or been really busy, so yeah. But yeah, I haven't done a lot of videos because I fell behind a bit with the Inktobers, and I've been really busy with jury duty, which is a huge pain in the ass, because I basically spend 9 hours just waiting about, and half the time I don't even go to court because there's legal decisions that need to be made and stuff that doesn't actually involve the jury. So maybe I should bring a sketchbook, I don't know, because I feel like I'm spending half the day waiting around at this point. Anyway, that's not relevant to what I'm talking about, which is the Pentel brush pen. So overall, things that are great about it: it's very portable, very convenient, easy to use, bish bash bosh, you bring it out, you take the cap off, you're good to go. Rich black ink, a lot of line variation, potential for a lot of great detail. This is the only problem I have with it, is that you cannot cover large areas quickly, which is why I used, for the second piece, I just used bottled ink and a brush, because it was just easier, and I really couldn't be bothered to do it with the pen, and I was probably just wasting the ink of the pen. Anywho, so those are my thoughts. It's coming to the end of the video, so I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm off. Okay, bye.